Put on your helmets and buckle your chin straps for the wildest podcast held in the Steel City. Dubs and Chicken Hawk will give you a taste of the past in fried jumbo.
All right, Luke, where are we at here? Episode 43, right?
43? Wait.
One might laugh.
Actually, that might be 44 or 5,
You
depending
get
on...
down to the bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah, that's
that
what
what it
happened. Yeah, we got down to the
You
bottom
saved
of the
the best
barrel,
for
and I
last.
was thinking, okay, where can we dig somebody up that might want to come on here? No, we asked you a long time ago, but for our guests that don't know, this is episode 45, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
Most likely 45.
Most likely 45. And we're honored to have our guest, Matthew Knizner from Youngwood, PA.
Honored to be here.
Honored to be here, right? Matt and I go back a long way, go back to the Irwin Playground basketball days, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty competitive basketball games we've had.
Yeah. And he was a heck of a player, a baseline guy that, he had all kinds of game. He had the elbow, he had the dribble drive, and he also had the
You know why I would do
corner.
the baseline?
Why?
No one ever defended the baseline.
Yeah.
So it was always a good look.
Yeah,
If
you
could
always
shoot
got a good
from
look.
there.
Yeah.
So you can always sneak away on the baseline, and they usually forget about you.
That's true. Especially, I don't know, in high school when you were playing, did they play 2-3 and 2-1-2?
Oh, you got
and all
a
that kind of
couple
stuff?
different defenses. Yeah.
Yeah.
2-3s, 1-3-1s.
Oh, God. 1-3-1, you'd kill that because your baseline,
Right. You had a chase.
You had like freedom.
Because you could split that
Yeah.
guy running underneath. And then Hempfield played a 1-2-2. We played a 1-2-2 defense.
That's interesting.
So you had to be, again, you could get the baseline pretty easy. Just put someone on the block, hold the defender, and you get a little bit of space.
Yeah, I remember those days when you guys would play Norwin and Latrobe and Greensburg. They all had really good teams back
Oh,
then.
it was competitive.
It was competitive. And Central, Greensburg Central had a good
Central was really good.
team.
You had even Geibel, believe it or not, was actually competitive back
Geibel,
then.
that's down in the Uniontown. No. Where is
They're
Geibel?
down in Connellsville.
Connellsville, yeah.
Right, a small little
Yeah, a
Catholic
little
school.
school there.
But they had two guys they recruited from out of the country that were actually pretty good. And they came in and they could score. And they were actually a competitive team.
I do remember this.
Yeah.
I didn't remember it till now.
Yeah, they had
But
two
I remember
guys.
it
I
now.
remember they were actually really good.
yeah.
Competitive, you had to play them. The teams that wasn't real strong was Penn Trafford, believe it or not, back in the day.
Terrible.
When we played them. Now, completely different. It's changed. But that was a team that wasn't as strong. But Latrobe, Norwin, Hempfield were always very competitive. And Greensburg-Salem.
Yeah, Salem was good.
Really good.
They were really good. I can't remember all those kids that played, but I just remember them being really good.
Yeah, some of the best games. The best game, Norwin Hempfield was always competitive. We seemed to always split.
Yeah.
And we seemed like we'd win at Norwin and lose at Hempfield. But that was one of the games. It was a 4 overtime game at Norwin my junior year. And it was probably the most intense game I played in. The gyms were just jam-packed.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And Paul Diegelman ran the
Norwin.
the fan base
Oh, God, yeah.
for Norwin. They had like an army. They would march in and just line up and just create all kinds of havoc for you when you played. But if you liked that, which I did, it kind of got you energized. So you end up kind of playing to the crowd a little bit too.
Oh, yeah.
But we ended up my junior year, it was so packed. We had a group called the Boat People. The schools had these fans and student body that would travel, and they had a group that would lead the cheers. Like Paul was the captain, or but we had called the Boat People, which would dress up in crazy outfits, and they just run around, do cheers, and they weren't allowed in that game.
Oh, really?
They would not allow them in. They had to come in with us. So they came in with the team. They got dressed in the locker room, and then they ran out with us too. So it was a surprise for everybody that both people made it to that game. But yeah, we ended up winning that game at 4 overtimes, and I think we still didn't qualify for playoffs. It was a big game for us, but we ended up losing another key one at the end and didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I think Norwin went to the WPIL finals that year.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they lost to Uniontown. Terrence Jackson was a little point guard. Do you remember
For
him?
Uniontown.
Uniontown, yeah.
That's another. They were really strong.
He was 5'6", and I remember him at the
dunk.
Civic Arena. He dribbled through everyone and dunked the ball.
Yeah,
at
he 5'6". He can dunk on anyone.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it was
had a
great.
good team.
They were good.
Yeah, Norwin went on, played in the finals.
Yeah,
Who else? Latrobe also
they were always
did
there.
well too that year.
Yeah. So this all started for Hempfield. Hempfield always confused me when I was a kid because you had 4 junior high schools, right? You had West Hempfield and Stanwood. That would be where you were from,
Stanwood.
right? Stanwood. That's like Youngwood.
New
and-
Stanton,
New-
Youngwood.
Youngwood, yeah.
That's
what I
a
thought. That was what
So
Stanwood
it kind
meant.
of sat right in between New Stanton and Youngwood.
Then you had Harold and Westover. Is that right?
Yeah, they had Harold was right next to the high school.
Right. Across the street.
That was your Fort Allen group.
Okay.
And then you had Wendover, which is Wendover West Point section of Hempfield, which is
Okay.
out near the mall.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had West Hempfield, which
Right,
was
that's-
your Green Ridge,
Yeah.
Rolling Hills area.
And that's all those guys we knew from Norwin were from there.
The West Hempfield crew.
Yeah, like Goldie and Ronnie Howard and
Right.
John Godola. And I'm trying to think of those kids that their dads owned the gas station, the Geigers.
Yeah.
Do you remember all them cats?
All the non-athletes came out of West Hempfield.
Goldie was your center. He was the man.
No, Goldie actually was really good. Went on to play Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. He
Tremendous
was-
football player.
Yeah. So, and then we had the Manor kids we hung out with.
Yeah.
And Norman.
Matt Mattis and the crew.
And Ronnie Shirley and all them. Yeah.
Who was the other one?
I'm trying to think.
Strzynski.
Yeah. Mark.
Yeah.
Stroke.
Mark.
Yeah.
Yep.
So still good buddies with all those guys to this day. So, but I didn't know too many people from Youngwood because it was far away from us when we were little. So tell us how that was growing up out there. You told me some stories about you and your brother Bill and your brother Mike, and you guys had a playground too, right?
Oh, I playground in Youngwood, 7th Street playground. So I lived right on 7th Street, which was directly across from the playground. Actually, where I grew up, my home was in between 2 schools. I had Holy Cross Elementary School right behind me, and then Youngwood Elementary right in front of me. I literally could go out the back. I'd be at they had a parking lot was their play area. And then across the street was the actual playground for the elementary school. So I was right in between. That was our neighbors.
And you had basketball hoops and all that there?
Basketball hoop at the playground. Kids always at the playground. I mean, you know how playgrounds are.
Oh, yeah.
I hear stories about Irwin Playground. Yeah.
Irwin Playground University.
Exactly. It's where you get your schooling,
Where you
right?
get your chops, yeah.
You learn there.
Get your ass beat.
So what I hear there and compared to Youngwood almost are like twin playgrounds. Same things happen, right? So when you get a group of kids at that age, whether from age 10 up to 16, you get a little bit of creativity going and you learn real fast how playgrounds work and how
there's a hierarchy.
the structure works within the playground and how to stay out of the target and always try to be on the fringe as much as you can. But yeah, so our Youngwood Playground was always active.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd walk out the door whatever time, you'd always have something going on, whether it's a game, a bunch of kids over there just hanging out. You just had every day you had, an agenda, something that was going to happen, which was a nice way to grow up. I always thought the center of the world was Youngwood Playground. That was it for me. That was the universe. That's where everything happened. And it seemed to move out from there, right? So,
and your dad, he still lives where you grew up, right?
Yeah, he's still in the same house right on 7th Street.
Because I would go
91.
to visit him a good bit.
Yeah.
And I would look over across there and I'd see that playground. I thought, that had to be perfect, for you guys growing up.
Yeah,
right out the door.
Perfect for him, too.
Yeah.
He just let the kids outside and not worry about it and don't have to watch us.
Yeah.
Because we were kind of self-managed. Yeah.
And now, Luke, remember I told you one time would play down at the playground. We would play this game where we'd shoot the bow and arrow up in the air. Did I?
Yeah, I vaguely remember it, but I don't remember what it was called.
God, I don't know what it was called either.
Yard darts.
Yard darts.
Before yard darts.
Yeah, it was yard darts was a game where you threw these big sticking things and
they're banned.
Yeah, they're banned.
They're banned.
Like, yeah, didn't those get banned for like taking out people's eyes?
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff?
And Nancy took one to the head once. And then
they're big, heavy darts.
Yeah,
that you would just throw.
Like gay big.
Yeah, they were big and heavy, and you threw them in this yellow circle.
Right. So we took that to another level. It was you would have bow and arrows, and you would have we might even use the little rings that came with the yard darts.
Yeah.
But you would shoot arrows up in the air, and whoever would land in the circle, that's how you get points.
Yeah, you would whoever stayed the closest to the circle, would win. It's because you basically what happened. You had a dude with a bow and arrow, and then you were all in a circle, and the dude would fire the thing up in the air, and everyone would be trying to follow that thing, and the wind would blow it all over the place, and then the arrow would come down, and you would try to.
Is that crazy?
Run away, right?
That is the most elaborate way to impale yourself I've ever heard.
Correct.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you a story. We did that, but we would do it with a bunch of guys with bow and arrows.
Oh, you did it with multiple people?
Multiples.
Oh, dear
so
Lord.
we would shoot them up, and who would land in the circle would get points too.
Oh, I see.
So it would come down. And so I was with my brothers were the ones that would do this with a bunch of the kids in the neighborhood. And I was
hold
6 years younger.
Yeah, like give us the ages of your brother.
My brother, my oldest is 8 years older than me. My middle brother's 6 years older. So let's say, so if I'm 6 years old, we're talking what, 12 and 14?
14, yeah.
Right. So I'm probably that age at this
You're
time.
6 and they're
So
12.
I just have to be tagged along. So it's like you go out the door and they have their little brother and they have to watch me the whole day. So that's whatever they did, I did. So they're out shooting these arrows and I'm standing around. I have no idea what's going on. They shoot the arrows up in the air and they say, okay, run. Everybody's running. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. So I just froze.
He just stood there.
Oh, the arrows came down and an arrow went down my back and stuck in my shoe. That's how close. It went all the way down and ripped my shoe in the back of my tennis shoe.
Oh.
But it didn't stab your foot.
Didn't stab your foot, did it?
Didn't hit me. I had no blood.
Nothing.
And
but it
didn't
did it go down through your shirt?
It went down. Didn't get on my shirt. It's like it came down funny and just caught me right in the back of my heel of my shoe and tore my shoe.
So you're basically this much
inches
from being dead.
It's
unbelievable. Pin cushioned.
To my brothers to this day don't like talking about it because they all looked at it and they thought they were waiting for me to fall over. Like,
well, you think about it. If they're looking at you from any other angle, that thing, they're looking like it got absorbed into your skull.
They had no idea. And I started crying. And you know what I did? I got Dairy Queen all summer because they would say, don't tell mom and dad. Don't tell mom and dad. You can't. I was like, what do you mean? I can't tell mom and dad? No, don't. Okay, whatever you want.
Yeah, we'll give you ice cream.
I'll get you ice cream. We'll go to Dairy Queen. And Dairy Queen down the other end of Youngwood was the go-to. I said, I'll work this thing for a while. All right.
Business savvy.
So, yeah, that was crazy. I remember that. They just really can't talk about it. They're like, oh, my God, they couldn't believe how close it was there. So that's the crazy stuff that kids do, right? You get enough kids in enough time.
There wasn't.
Want to get bow?
I can't be one. I can't be one to talk. We did stupid stuff too, so it's really.
Yeah, one thing is your brain is not developed enough to figure risk reward.
Yeah, no.
You're just
like thinking
going for excitement.
Yeah, you're looking for reward.
Yeah,
you're not thinking risk.
No,
you're thinking I could shoot this bow up in the air and it's going to land in that circle.
What's going to happen when it comes?
What's
down?
the possibility? What's the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
I missed the yellow thing. Big deal, but you don't think about you're going to kill somebody.
Like 8 to 10 guys all have to shoot straight in the air. Like how far? Like what if one's a little bit off?
Dude, you guys had to be crazy because with one, I was pretty good with risk reward. I remember when they would shoot that thing up, my first move is I'd run under the merry-go-round and like dive under it. So like if it came down, it was hitting the metal of it could never get to me. But other dudes would just stand there and let it drop.
Yeah, no,
I'm like, dude, there's no way.
There's a couple. That one. I think back and I'm like, oh man, at 6 though, you're just along for the ride.
Yeah, you're not in the decision making.
But then at the playground, we had, I always have different kind of personalities at the playground. One guy was a bomb maker. He like made stuff, and you get his M80s. He always had stuff he was going to do, like create like bombs,
like gunpowder. They always had gunpowder.
Gunpowder.
Who the hell has gunpowder?
Yeah, you come up with stuff. So he came up to the playground. We're all standing around. He goes, I made this big M80 out of this material. I want to light it off. And we're all, okay, light it off. Let's do it. So let's put it in the garbage can. So, okay, that's a good idea. We're all standing around the garbage can. He lights this M80 with metal or whatever it is.
Basically, I think it's a pipe bomb at this point.
Yeah, oh, dear Lord.
And we put it in the garbage can. And myself, I'm like, my mind goes, I don't think it's a good idea. So these big trees are all around. I got behind a tree, and other guys are just standing there. It goes off, right? It explodes through the garbage can with a hole this big, hits the tree I'm behind, ricochets across the playground, across 7th Street, and hits Al Kenny's car and puts a hole in Al Kenny's car.
Oh my!
What were trash cans made of around this time?
Metal.
They were metal, so that's a shrapnel warning. There's going to be shrapnel everywhere.
And we're all standing there. It went through all those kids. No one got hurt.
Not one person got anything.
Not one person got injured. Not one person. If it would have hit somebody, it would have went through them. No question. So we're like, oh my God, what did you just do? We didn't know what he made. We're sitting there. He's like, we thought maybe it was an M80. It was just going to be a loud boom. We didn't know he actually made a pipe bomb.
No.
No.
And what did Al Kenny do about his car?
Oh, hell. Everybody just took off running. It was like, oh my God. What the
Never found out, huh?
No one came clean.
No one came clean. But did they come to your houses and do that whole interrogation? You better tell, or you didn't even, no one even showed up?
I don't think they bothered. In Youngwood, they just knew no one was going to
tell anybody.
No. It was kind of the playground deal was like.
Playground.
Everything stayed there. Yeah. It was crazy. So that was another. I was like, no one got hurt here. I can't believe it. But you always had that, right? We had guys that were just, just different things. We had one kid that would show up every day. All he did was listen to the weather. Mm-hmm. He had his weather radio, and he would sit there all day listening to the weather. We're like,
would he tell you anything about it?
Chester.
Yeah, that's all he did. Just listen to the weather.
Yeah, hey Chester, what's the weather?
Was he your age? Your age or just older?
He was a little bit older than us. He was like, but that was his gig. He was always into the weather side. But we had guys. You look back at the personalities we had. Everybody had a nickname. Did your
oh yeah, everyone
playground had nicknames?
Oh yeah.
Did they? It's like I was like you had to have a nickname.
Right there, Dubs. It's always something. Everyone has names. Hip Diggs, and all these names we call them to this day are from when we were little.
Yeah.
Like Lex Llewellyn, Mike Lex Llewellyn, all those names.
We didn't really have names like in my
Did you
group.
guys?
You didn't do nicknames like that?
Some of us did, but not many.
No,
I didn't have a nickname. Maybe it was like Flem once or twice ever, but
yeah, you kind of we had guys.
But I digress.
No, it's good.
Well, yeah. So
it's different times.
Kids.
It's different. That's all.
Yeah, mine was Kiz, like Knizner. So I was lucky enough to have a nickname where it was pretty much off my last name, like yours, right? But the poor guys, like we had a guy Head, and it was all around. His head was so big. He just it's Head.
It's Head,
and that was his nickname. It stuck to
this day. Yeah,
Dubbo, Lumpy, Slimbo, Whitey. Frito.
I knew a guy who knew a guy. His name was Chunk.
Chunk.
Chunk. I don't remember his actual name. It might have been like Chris or something.
We had a Chunk too at Norwin. Yeah.
It's all the appropriate names, though. It seemed like.
It fit,
They usually fit. Like Lumpy, one day, my wife we were in the car going through Youngwood, and I happened to see him, and he's a heavier set guy. Mm-hmm. And I put the window down, drive, hey, Lumpy. It was like, I wouldn't even think she was, why'd you call the guy Lumpy? He's a little heavier set. I don't think that was correct. I go, well, that's his nickname. I don't even know his first name.
I can't remember.
It's just like, it's Lumpy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had TZ, better known as Tony Zona.
BK, Llewellyn, Brian Keith. You know, you had Okie for Okie O'Connell. You know, O'Connell.
Yeah,
it's usually off last names like Stu. You know, my name was Little Flem. Brian was Big Flem.
or something they do, or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of.
Yeah.
We had a kid, Radical Reed.
Radical Reed.
That was his. He had a two-namer. Usually it's a one-name.
Yeah,
like
two-namers, man. That's a serious one when you got
Beef.
two names. Beef.
And then you had Radical Reed. I was like, how do you get Radical Reed? He was radical. Like his big thing was he ran Halloween. Mm-hmm. Like you ever have Halloween at like what I mean by that is you would vandalize.
Yes.
Did you guys do that? Is that the thing to do?
Well, I don't want to use his name because he's still employed, but someone you and I know very well organized this.
That's Radical Reed.
Yeah, program. And we would meet at his house. Usually it was 30 days before Halloween was the start of it.
Right.
And this particular person would run us through calisthenics, sit-ups, push-ups, racing.
You got in shape for it?
Yeah, we got in shape for it.
Oh my
we worked
God.
out for it.
Really?
Yeah, we'd get in a circle. You know, like you're doing like football, and you're doing like warm-ups and all that.
You guys are all serious.
We're stretching.
We're getting ready to go.
We're doing jumping jacks.
Oh, my God.
There was a cadence to it. But literally, we had a whole thing, you know, built around tic-tac and egg and, you know, all that kind of ringing doorbells and running and dog shit and, you know, just stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And vandal. Not vandalizing, but
no.
Doing just
stupid
you wouldn't
stuff. Like break windows. We wouldn't do any of that. We just kind of, you had a group of guys that called a gang of guys, and you just kind of, everybody, I would think, just stay out of the way. And again, you had a leader. That was our Radical Reed guy. Yeah. He would lead us. And funny thing with him, he would wear a fluorescent orange sweatshirt.
Well, that's kind of the antithesis.
Kind of defeats the point.
Of hiding from people.
He didn't care.
Oh, I see. He wanted people.
Like, hey man, we're coming.
He wanted people to know it was him. He dresses bright like Robin Hood or something.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, this dude is radical.
Yeah, he was. He was
we were opposite. Legit. We were like camoed up and stuff. You know, we were looking not to get caught. Yeah,
that's actually scarier. He wants the attention.
Yeah. And then Youngwood had a police department, and so he would actually call the police, say, "Hey, there's some vandalism going on," and then wait for the police to come up 7th Street. And then they would usually come up real slow, and everybody would be hiding, and they would just tomatoes and eggs on the police car.
Boom, boom, boom,
just
boom,
coming
boom,
up. And then they got smart to it, so they never came up 7th Street. They'd come on the outskirts and try to catch us. But yeah, we did stuff like that. The one time, funny one was, again, I lived right across from, in between two schools, so there was the PTA meetings.
Yeah,
were always the best, right? So it was always in the fall. So we would make these on 6th Street where all the traffic was. We would create this we'd get a bunch of leaves and do a barricade across the road.
Okay.
And so they started going through it. So we'd take people's ladders, metal ladders, put it in there. So they would go through it, boom, hit the ladders.
Oh,
so
my.
They could. But then they had to stop. The ones that would stop, we would be waiting on the edges. And soon as they stopped, we would get on their car and soap all their windows shut completely to the point where they can't see out the windows. We would soap the windows completely, front windshield, side windows. And they were stuck there.
I have to say, you were degenerates. Degenerates.
They were stuck there. They would be like, they couldn't get out because they were afraid someone would hold the door. And then we would just.
Imagine that now. Someone would shoot these kids.
Oh, my gosh.
Soap them completely where they couldn't see out the windows. Yeah. And they were stuck there.
And here I am. The worst thing I've seen is ding dong ditching.
Yeah. No, we enticed like people to come out.
Well, actually, no. I did see someone steal a street sign in our neighborhood once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we didn't get into stealing
signs.
We just kind of created havoc.
Yeah. We were driving home one day. I want to say I was in middle school. Someone was stealing some kid was stealing a street sign. I want to say it was Cameron on Brandywine.
Huh. Kind of like that sign.
Yeah. Where'd you get like that? I see a couple signs in here that probably came from somewhere. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, someone. I think Chicken Hawk got this one somewhere. I don't know where he got that from. I think that might have been up near by Brookville or somewhere. Did I ever tell this story where we would have one kid dress up as a girl?
And
and Billy and they would pretend they were, having like intercourse on the side of the
So
street.
someone would have to stop and
Yeah. There would be always someone would stop and go, "Oh my God, you were so disgusting," and they'd get out of the car and try to like make them put their clothes on or whatever, and that's when we would pop out with the tomatoes and the eggs and just pound them.
But just want someone to stop.
We wanted a distraction, like you said.
So they get out to try to help
or something. We pretend someone hit someone over the head with a stick or something, and the dude would be like limping and stuff. People,
you got to create the diversion.
You got to have a diversion,
so they don't
right?
see around their surroundings, so you get them out of the car.
Right. That's what we wanted. We wanted them out of the car so we could hit them with the tomatoes and everything. And then there was a fella, one of our friends knew someone had a scanner, and we would do that too. We would call the police. Yeah. And then we would track them on the scanner. They'd say, "I'm coming up from 3rd and 4th Street." So we would know exactly which way we were coming. And then we would be able to
just
egg them and stuff. Yeah, we'd ambush them. Because they got smart, like you said. They wouldn't come up 6th Street anymore. They'd come around the corner or something. So we would pay attention to the scanner, and we knew which way to run.
Yeah. And when you caught somebody, like when you, not caught, but when you egged a car, and the classic was they get out and chase you. Now it was game on, and you always caught that one guy that would be like, "That's it, boom, around, or he's coming. You got a runner." You would take off,
dude. I'm telling you, they would chase you for a mile, miles,
whole mile, huh?
They would.
I'm not kidding you. They wouldn't give up.
Oh, we the one time we got, this dude was coming, man. He came up Depot running. Depot Street's a real steep.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of Youngwood. And we're like, we got to go. Where are we going? He's not stopping. And we're like,
they leave their car parked in the road.
We end up in like Lyman's Hill, like running through the field, diving into the weeds, like hiding into, so he couldn't like find out where we were. But you get in that excitement. That's what you were looking for, I think, when you did that stuff. Is you got one guy who would chase you, right? Yeah. And then it would be, and that, I would think after that, you're like, okay, that's too crazy. Let's stop. We're done for the night. You get the one guy chasing you. It was like, it was it. You couldn't.
It was petrifying.
It was. It was scary. It was scary.
Yeah.
So, but that was always, and you talk about the one time too, we used to play, like basketball was what we
did all the time.
Yeah. Basketball was what, at the playground, I don't know your playground. What I heard too, you have all these games, like you always played something, right?
Oh yeah, it was never regular stuff. It was tip-in, or it was dunking off shopping buggies, dunk contests. Just crazy stuff.
Don't bend the rim though.
Yeah,
bend the rim.
Because then you were done for the summer.
And then they wouldn't replace it.
They wouldn't replace it, or someone's dad had to go buy a rim. Or
yeah.
But you weren't allowed to hang on the rim, right? You were allowed to dunk, but no one could hang on the rim.
Don't damage the rim.
Don't damage the rim. So, and then our tennis courts, we would play stickball in there. You know what I mean? Because we had like 3 tennis courts.
Yeah, you're right
so
there,
it was
right
like
next to the playground.
Yeah, we called it Fenway because the Green Monster, because you had the fence was so high. So the left field fence was the Green Monster, and then center you couldn't get it out of there in center typically unless you were Hip Diggs or someone. That dude was crazy strong.
Hit it deep.
Yeah, but everyone would have to pull it and take it over the Monster. Then we got too big. Then we would have played left-handed.
Yeah,
because
you changed the game.
You had to change the game around
because it was too
easy.
Not easy. Yeah.
So it was just one thing about those days is you found something creative to do with your time.
Yeah, we played everything. Yeah, like wiffle ball, which you're saying, but we went from wiffle ball to what would happen with the wiffle ball after a game or two. We'd run out of wiffle balls; it'd break, right? So my dad was an electrician, and he would have this electrical tape. So we would I'd go take the electrical tape. He'd always wonder where the electrical tape was because we would wrap the balls, these wiffle balls, in this electrical tape. And it became like
a missile.
They're like rocks. Mm-hmm. And if you get hit with that, you were in some pain, right?
Yeah.
But then what that would do, it would damage the bats. So your wiffle ball bats would get broken.
Yeah.
So so our game completely changed from wiffle ball to tennis ball with a hard bat.
Yeah.
So we would play on the same
Was yours wooden bat or was it aluminum?
Wooden bat with a tennis ball. And we would field every position. So you had a catcher, third base, shorts. You had every position.
The whole
covered.
thing, yeah.
It was all covered. So we had bases. We drew the bases out. They were permanent. Someone got paint, and we ended up painting on the basketball court the bases, right?
Yeah.
And then I look back at that, and I was like, man, we had the best shortstop. It was Radical Reed was the best third baseman of all time. He could have played Major League Baseball. He was so good. You thought at the time, hey, don't hit at the third base.
Because he's like
he
Brooks Robinson. He don't miss.
Everything. Yeah, he's Brooks Robinson. He catches everything. But we had the same thing. We had a wall, school. The Youngwood school was 3 stories.
Yeah.
So you had the basketball court, a dip, and then you had the wall, right? So with the tennis ball, you had, if you hit it above the second window on the fly, it was a home run, right? So you were sitting there. The challenge was, though, if you hit it on the roof, it was automatic 3 outs.
Yeah, you're in big
trouble.
trouble.
We had a bunch of tennis balls, right? So if you hit it on the roof, automatic 3 out. So what would happen, you get late in the game, we play 9 innings, and it's like a 1-2 run game. You got to run her on. You'd be like, dude, you can't hit it. You can't hit it to the wall. You got to play short. Mm-hmm. We don't want, because what would happen with that, it was hard to control the tennis ball with the hard bat, because if you catch it just right, it's on the roof. It's gone.
Yeah.
So you'd always have that one kid wanting to hit the home run late, and he'd lose the game for you. It'd be automatic 3 outs. Hey, we got the game winner at second base. You hit it on the roof.
All you need is a line drive anywhere.
That's all. Why are you going for the home run?
Even a chopper, a Baltimore chop.
It was so much. That was, you'd think of the creativity of how
that game there, what you put together there was wonderful, because you have to line drive it above the second window, but you can't climb over to third or fourth because you're going on the roof.
That's
brilliant.
Automatic 3 out.
Who came up with that one?
That's how because we had to climb up to get. We'd run out of tennis balls, so you had to run up onto the roof, which took probably 30 minutes. You had to climb the walls.
How the hell did you get up there? Yeah,
there was a lightning rod. So the lightning rod would come down, and you could pull the lightning rod to the point you could put your hands. And you'd shimmy up
all the way up it.
All the way up, first story. You'd run across flat roof, shimmy up the lightning rod to the second story, right?
Yeah.
And then there was a little bit of a trick to get to the top. Now, there's only so many guys that get to the top. There was one guy in particular who was excellent at it, and we'd send him up.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll go to the second with you. We'll help you up. And we had to help shimmy up a guy to the third level. But the third level, I mean, you're way up there.
If you fall down, it's 30 feet. Yeah. Or you'd land on maybe 12 feet. But still, I mean,
so
that'd be good.
So it was a big deal if you hit it on the roof. You don't want to do that. No.